And so this is part two of my. I guess I have to. The video on my phone only goes to a certain number of minutes, so I'll have to conclude my thoughts in this part two. But I guess what I would say is, I think I haven't heard anyone mention or bring up the possibility of Ember, this character on this TV show, having some possibly being a demonic entity in disguise. Okay, this is how demons work. It's one of the ways that demons work. They assume pleasing forms, and yeah, it's possibly true that for him she was just this. She was, just after he watched her video hundreds of times, that she just became for him. She became real for him. She became, a soulmate to him, and this represented a mental break on his part, and that she wasn't ever really real. What's strange, though, is that she assumes the role of being the one demanding sacrifice of him. And, of course, this is from a show where we know that television can have a hypnotic effect. We know that people can get immersed in television characters, or movie characters, and of course, I'm all in favor of looking at cinema as art, but I'm also aware that it can serve non-artistic and much more sinister purposes. So, just to wind up my thoughts here, what if Ember was a demon? Not the character of Ember. Don't misunderstand me. Don't put words in my mouth or make me out to be saying something that I'm not here. I'm not suggesting that the show is a demonic show. I've never watched it. Again, I'm aware that television has unsavory connections to the deep state. I think that somebody from Nickelodeon or one of the children's channels was flying on Epstein's plane. Showed up on the plane logs. So, I definitely wouldn't assume that they're just hunky dory and there's nothing wrong with them. But I'm not. In this case, I'm not suggesting this is some kind of MK Ultra, like some trained killer, some one of these Manchurian Candidate-esque experiments. But I am wondering if in the fragile mind of this young man who felt so disconnected and so alienated from reality and from who he was and from his true self and all these things about himself, all these things that I can, again, without being self-indulgent, all these things that I can relate to, and why I say he's like one of my people. I mean, I have moments of deep personalization. I have moments where I just think I don't belong here. Why the hell am I here? My very existence is mucking up the works. I have moments like that, so I understand that. I get it. But there's something about how she was telling him to do these things. She was assuming control over his mind and telling him to make these sacrifices, beginning with the make-believe sacrifices of his make-believe, friends on the show that he had before he started Ember Ghost Squad, and leading up to the very real and very tragic sacrifices that he made of 3 of his co-workers that evening. And then afterwards sacrificing himself, believing that he will now ascend to the world that he wants that he feels connected to, that he feels a part of, to this entity that he feels knows him, that he feels is known by him, and it's very heavy stuff to contemplate, but it's just what I wonder. And I have, for all of the coverage of his case, and a lot of people have covered it very, very well, very thoroughly, very responsibly. And I'm going to link to two such people here. One who just covered it in a sort of newsy kind of way. Another who applied what he called a Jungian analysis, which I thought was interesting. But I haven't heard anyone apply a demonic analysis, or at least suggest the possibility of there being a demonic role that was played in all of this. This might be misinterpreted as me saying, oh, this poor kid, he shouldn't be really held responsible for his actions. No, I think he should be held responsible. I think we're all responsible for what we do. But demonic influence is also something that I believe should be taken seriously. Whether you believe it or not, whether it's something that is a part of your worldview or not, you should be open to the possibility of it. And ask questions like I'm trying to ask here. So, I hope and I pray that Randy Stair's victims can rest in peace, and their families can be comforted. And I actually hope and pray the same about Randy Stair himself. I hope that he didn't damn his soul irretrievably by his terrible final act. I hope that I saw him and I felt some empathy for him, and that doesn't mean that I don't empathize with the people that he killed, but I do hope that somehow some mercy has been able to be exerted on the part of someone in the realms of the spirit world, to protect him from the fate that I'm afraid he might have condemned himself to. But we won't ever know for sure. So those are my thoughts about Randy Stair. I think I might have called him Danny a few times. If I did, I always meant Randy. Randy Stair. Andrew Blaze, the name that he came to assume for himself. Those are my thoughts about Randy/Andrew and Ember, his muse, his crush from the cartoon world, and what she came to represent to him in his life, and what ultimately he did at her apparent behest. Who was she really? Who was she who was this entity, who he saw, who he communicated with, who he felt connected with. These are all questions that I find very interesting, but fascinating, but also, somewhat disquieting. Well, thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any ideas or opinions, but just please don't be stupid. And please don't mischaracterize anything I've said here, okay? That's all. Thanks for watching. My name's Andy Nowicki. You can check out my work at ultrarightnovelist.com.